Hello, Soulfire.
Hello, Soulfire. Welcome to the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. My name is Chrystopher, the AstroMedium. Jessica.
I am Jessica Tanselle, medium, spiritual teacher, and healer, and I am excited to be here with you tonight.
I'm excited to be here with you as well, as always.
I was supposed to be here last week. Was it last week?
It was last week. So
Okay.
for those of you who are just joining us, this is my lovely cooperative component, Jessica. She was not with us last week for the last video, and that was actually about diet and health from my perspective and how to heal through a plant-based lifestyle. So for those of you just joining Chronicles of Chiron or who have not watched our previous videos, we are a couple of psychic mediums, metaphysical enthusiasts, and this is what we do for a living, and we are passionate about that. Jessica and I have a lot of spiritual connections. We've known each other for a long time, and we are very passionate about healing and the different ways healing can come about. And I am an astrologer, so I usually come at it from that perspective. And in astrology, when we look at healing, there's a lot of components, but we mostly focus on an asteroid called Chiron, which is based off of a myth. And this is all about transmuting your weaknesses or your insecurities into power, pain into power. And that's what we want to help you do. So tonight we have some topics we're going to discuss, because we usually discuss all the different types of healing, from EMDRs, different types of trauma release therapies, plant spirit medicine, and breath work. I mean, we've covered a lot of territory. Reiki. We've covered a lot of territory. And if you all are interested in those topics, you can go back to our previous videos where we cover a myriad of healing modalities, and we definitely dissect them and go into them, and we want to know, well, what's working for people, what's worked for us, and to give people an option in their healing process rather than just medication and psychotherapy. You have all these different avenues available to you now with scientific evidence, but with a lot of experience behind it and a lot of history, and now we have access to it because of all of this internet stuff going on. So I really want to talk tonight about a very important part of the healing process, and that's not even the therapy session or the plant spirit medicine retreat or the breathwork exercise. That's not even the healing.
Right.
You know?
The integrating your healing is a huge part, because it's like, I've received this information, or I've gone through this process, I've had my session. What the hell do I do now that I'm sitting at home and it's coming out? Or, I don't have that person with me, even in my therapy session. I'm at home shaking it out. I'm crying it out. Why am I feeling depressed when I just went through healing?
Right.
And it's learning how to integrate that in. And one of my deepest integrations, I'm saying deepest, but it was a pretty difficult one, was talking about integrating anger back in. And I've gone through a lot of depression in my life and have healed that through this healing work and the many different methods that we've used. And I love using plant medicine in my healing.
Me too.
But the integrating back, what I even say about when I'm leading a retreat, 50% is going to come and happen in your session. So whether it's a retreat or it's a session, it's a therapy session, medium or psychic session, healing session, all of those, you're getting like half of it, and then you got to integrate the other half back into your life.
Yeah, and this integration idea and the purpose of integration is really important, because I think that's how all of nature and living things in the universe, anytime there's a sudden change or there's a evolutionary jump or leap in consciousness or a shift in DNA structure, anything down to those particles, there's an adjustment period, but there's also a period in which something kind of solidifies, kind of like the caterpillar turning into goo in the cocoon, just goo, and then turning back into a solid thing. That's very much what happens, especially, in a plant medicine retreat or ceremony session, which I have done. And this is definitely, for those of you who are not familiar with what plant spirit medicine is, that's just different types of plants that offer consciousness shifting healing benefits. Yeah, like Kana, which you can get a tea of that at Whole Foods, and it definitely puts you in a good mood. It's not as strong as something you would take in a plant medicine retreat, but it is definitely, it's just a plant with healing benefits that we can utilize. But when you're in those really intense sessions, those trauma release therapies, that EMDR, I've done EMDR where, you know, something will come to the surface, breath work, different types of yoga like Kundalini yoga, which really is like a breath work when you're doing that. Breath of fire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to stimulate, it's stimulating so much in the body, but also it's all of these emotions that come to the surface. So once they're at the surface, things kind of have to be not just released, but then new things that you've accepted have to fall back into their place so you can regain a wholeness that you were missing.
It's like when we talk about the light and the dark, the shadow side, there are things and traumas and emotions, events in our life have caused us to take this piece of us and kind of tuck it away. And so literally I've had energy here and here,
Yes.
and I've moved out, but it's like that anger that wasn't okay when I was 11, I like shoved it down, and then everybody sees me and I'm always happy. And then, you know, when that came up and I was like, oh, that 11-year-old girl came back, right? And all that anger came up and I was sitting in it for 2 days.
Yeah.
And if I had not been prepared for that, in a sense, okay, one, I wasn't prepared for that, but if I didn't know that
Right.
that was a possibility, I would have probably lit my apartment on fire because I was plotting it. I was like, I'm going to light this whole fucker on fire.
Yeah. I've definitely
Because I was so
been
angry.
there.
And it's like, how do you integrate that back in? I mean, yes, you have to have somebody on dial, but also you've got to learn how to like feel it to move it, because people are like, oh, I need to stuff it back down. I'm like, let the tears out and let the anger out.
Well, I have actually had integration sessions after a plant medicine retreat and after a yoga class where you integrate with the instructor, the medicine woman, the teacher, whoever, the healer, and they work with you. What came up while it's still goo before you've gone home and it's all kind of solidified again, when you're still gooey from just having the experience, the transformation, for them to have that out of ego, because your ego is still trying to bring you back after any of this healing. Your ego wants to identify with the trauma and the pain because it doesn't want to be different. So it's going to kind of, no, remember being like this 3 hours ago before you did whatever you just did? Let's get those neural pathways activated again. And then the integration session helps you within that period before you solidify again. At least for me, it was like just to follow a thought in a neural pathway while you're talking about it. And for a good one, which I've had a good one, just slightly say, well, why don't you think about it like this? And then it's like something new is created in that moment. And you start, while you're still goo, creating a neural pathway in that new direction. Oh, it happened that way, not because something was wrong with me, but because that. And I wasn't going to come to that conclusion myself necessarily because my ego was still trying to get me, which is why an integration session is necessary. And I've even listened to a podcast that you sent me, I believe, about integration after plant medicine. And it's all very important to me now that I understand it and have experienced it.
When I'm leading these retreats now, and I actually bring in a medicine person to work with clients, I already have in that an integration session with me that should be about 2 weeks after the retreat.
Right.
Yeah. So important.
Yeah, built into the package. Yes, absolutely.
One, I need to talk before, but after, I need to make sure you're not like.
Yeah, because sometimes.
Also, I'm sorry, I was going to just say also, like when I'm doing Reiki energy healing, it can get that intense also. Right. When I'm doing my moon ceremonies, you know,
absolutely,
the healing ceremonies.
Yes.
Any form is going to get you where you need to be. You're going to know what calls you, but the integration after, it's not, I tell most of my clients, 95%, reach out to me if you need something, because I'm here for it. I'm not just like, great, have your session, move on. I'm like, if you're not doing okay and you need tips, please reach out to me.
Mhm.
I'm not a one and done, and you need support, whether it's healing from grief in a medium session. If you're coming to see me for energy healing,
Right.
you're seeing a light activation coach. We've listed so
Oh my
many.
gosh, we've talked about so many. I'm like,
But also,
wow,
I
we
love that
talked
you
about
said
all of them.
yoga, because yoga, I've told people have told me that they've bawled in yoga, but I've also had anger release there. This woman
Because you
stepped right
just
in front of me.
physically, yeah, you opened that part of your body up and your body was finally able to like almost like
Yes.
untwisting a hose. The water just,
Yes.
God, I've been there where it's like, it just, wow, it's right there. There it is. Now it can go.
Support systems are also important in the integration session with your teacher, with your guide of some sort is so important, even if it's a different guide from who's led you in whatever healing this is.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be the same person, but the perspective they bring is really powerful.
Yes, and I'm wondering if what integration would look like if you were not seeing a therapist, if you were because we have a lot of self-healers out here. We are self-healers, and there's a lot of people doing things on their own at home, reading books, doing exercises, doing the tapping, which we've also done a video on. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let me tell you, because
And I believe in
have
it.
one today. I have one today with someone who does a lot of shadow work on their own.
Yes.
And so
Sometimes you have to do shadow work on your own because you just either don't trust anyone else or you just don't.
I think a lot of people are
It's
looking for
scary.
how to do it on their own too.
Yes, because it's just so vulnerable.
It is so vulnerable. So in
So
that kind
raw.
of session, yeah, typically, I'm a psychic, I'm going to tune into you, but
Right.
oftentimes it's someone telling me, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, this is what I need help with, and then I know exactly what to say there, and then spirit just guides me with more.
Right, right.
Also you didn't mention this, but this, and they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you can almost like you're gonna that's what I have been doing a lot in my sessions as well. So I'm not doing an energy work, but just in my readings, I'll find myself a lot in the past few months going to specific memories they have in certain ages and certain memories so that and I get the message that it's so that when they go to do some type of healing work or they go to intentionally do something, they can go there and activate that time where the cord or where the roots are springing from.
I typically will call out an age, and they are like, wow, I wouldn't have gone there for this. And
Yes,
it happens
exactly, because they
in
didn't
many
remember.
of my sessions. Yes. And today even it was like, well, I don't remember that. It's interesting you called out that. Actually, I know exactly what that means. So
Yeah.
and that happened a couple times today. I love that the trauma healing comes up in both of our work, because
It's
we've
because
done
it's what
that
we're
work.
focused on, and I get that, but it just gets to the point where it's like I'll get information and it'll seem so random at first, and then I'll realize that it's because this is something that they're going to heal, or that this is where it all starts from and where
Yes.
to go to when
And
it.
I talk about a lot of different, and you probably do too, different techniques to use at home for shadow work with my clients when I'm working with them. But healers need healers. I called my healer this week and was like, hey, girl, can I get a session?
Yes, absolutely.
Because we do need also, like, I do my own healing.
Well, and
I'm
we take
really
on
good
the
at
healing of
it.
others. Sometimes we take on so much and
Yeah.
it might activate something that we now need healing for. So it just comes with it. When you're a channel, the tube is going to get worn down on the inside from all that information coming in if you don't get polished up again.
We all need an integration coach at
Oh
least
gosh, yes. But
once a year.
I was thinking, could we be our own integration coach? And I wonder, I
No,
see.
you cannot. I cannot be my integration coach. I would spiral. How many times have I texted you and been like, "Doo-doo-doo," and you're like, Girl, you crazy.
I
Quit
wonder
that.
if we should create an app which is a integration coach that
Let's work on
that
that for
feeds
sure.
off, that
But here's
learns from
why.
you like a Furby.
Because you have one perspective. But if you think of the teachers you and I have had, their perspective
Is
is
different.
mind blowing for us. We're like, whoa, because we're very like, this is
Spiritual, yes.
spiritual, but also we have logic in there. And
Yes.
so they come sometimes from this whimsical, mystical, and we're like, ooh, well,
Right.
right.
Yeah, I'm very logical.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so that helps to have someone else's perspective. So when I say we all need integration sessions like once a month, what I'm saying is what my friend, and these aren't my words because I don't like these, but we could all use a therapist. And so therapist is going to mean something different for everybody. For me, a therapist is a spiritual coach or an
Right.
integration coach.
Exactly. That's what I would require too as a spiritual coach. So yeah, you just have to get to know yourself and what you need and what's going to resonate with you and what you feel comfortable with. But integration is, to me, is the most important. And I don't think you need an integration session after every journey or after every breathworks
I,
series.
oh,
I don't believe that it's unnecessarily a need, the way that, well, you got to do this, you got to go home and brush your teeth after you get this kind of thing. It's, you feel it when you need it.
this
Because
is
there have been
true.
times I
However,
needed it, and then there's been times where I've done the work on my own.
I would beg to differ in one of these situations. I agree with the yoga, the breath work, on the energy healing that you
The
call
plant
it.
medicine.
Not on the plant medicine. You have to be in contact with your teacher. You stay with the same teacher for a year and you have to meet with them after your plant medicine. That's not an option. The others, I completely agree. You have to be in some kind of contact with your teacher after that. That is their responsibility too.
Yeah, I get that. I've just not, a
It
couple
looks
times, not
different,
needed it the way that I did other times.
but it is their job because of what you have been. They have done a very specific, huge healing work, and that is responsibility on them too. It is necessary, and whatever that looks like with you and your teacher will be different.
Right.
It,
Yeah, and it all becomes, the whole healing process is a lot of work. And so
yeah.
that's a lot of what's going on this year. Like I've mentioned before in previous videos, that Saturn is currently making a sextile to Chiron. And this is very important as, um, and Chiron is a huge part of the full moon in Libra, but also the Venus star point that we have coming up here in the next few days, which is a unique event. Chiron is a part of that. So, but there's a lot of work that's being brought to the surface. I love, because Saturn is the planet of hard work, discipline, structure, restriction, being conservative with what's already working and being very discriminating and
Wow.
oh yeah, Saturn is a very specific type of energy, and he wants you to put in the work. That's what that energy calls you to do, and mature because of it. And I love, because when I look back in history, I'll always say, and Nicole LaPera, is that her name? She's the holistic psychologist.
Nothing.
She just released a book called How to Do the Work, and it
Ah,
became the #1 New York Times bestseller, like right out the gate, because she's
of
amazing.
course. That's
And
awesome.
so, of course, that she would release her #1 selling book called How to Do the Work just a couple of months after Saturn and Chiron began to sextile. It's like the perfect astrology class of 10 years from now. So there's a lot of that going on right now. But when you get into your healing work, it becomes a lot of responsibility at some point. It feels like you can get obsessed with it. And like you can be like, I just want to, fine, I'm going to go in there and look for roots instead of letting them come out as they're supposed to, because
I,
you're ready to quicken the process. You're ready to get healed already, so you can just have a happy life.
that
And
sounds familiar. And
yes,
also, I did have to tell someone just today that, hey, it doesn't have to be like this. It can actually be like this.
yeah,
Like we can taper it a little bit. You're doing so amazing, but we can taper.
It's scary in the first few years of when you take on your healing process and you say, I'm going to do this. You don't know that these things are going to work for you yet. You haven't lived it yet. You are still scared, and it becomes so much sometimes. And what I want to say is it's very important and very necessary for when you're actively healing to take time off from that and to escape from that.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's talk about escape.
Yeah.
How do you escape? Do you have little things that you do? I'll be glad to share mine too.
My escaping would be like, well, definitely for a lot of my life. Um, how do I want to say that?
I don't
You
know.
know, rolling the dice, you know, I have Mars in the first house. So my sexual energy is going to pull out the the escapism stuff. It's going to give me a lot, but also like just music, going out in nature, those are great ways to escape. But also eating vegan cake and vegan pizza and watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, and just vegging out, as my mom would say, because my mom is a moon in Pisces too, and my dad is a sun in Pisces. So there's a lot of escapism that I come from. Okay.
Oh, I have the Pisces. Okay, there we
Yes.
go.
And my sun is in the 12th house, which is ruled by Pisces, which gives my Gemini sun kind of a Pisces overtone, if you will. Okay. And so there's a need to escape even, but this can come out in creativity in a lot of healthy ways. But yeah, there's sometimes, I'm smoking a little Delta 8 or whatever this new shit is. And, eating vegan pizza, just feeling horrible after and just having to go straight to sleep because you feel so horrible for what you just did to your body. But
You know
during,
what?
it's just like in a different dimension.
I do not shame myself any longer. I refuse. And I hope you refuse it too.
Yeah, I don't give a
Because
shit
if
about
you
that, but
need
I
to
will tell
escape,
you there are things that like sometimes I am an empath. So of course food is where I'm sometimes can overeat, as all empaths do, to keep numbing and to keep a sensation going. Okay, the same for me with Mars in the first house, with Venus in the first house too. Like lots of sex is going to be very stimulating for me. It's going to cause not that it doesn't for everybody else, but
or self-love even. Like
yeah,
self-love, I know.
that's what Venus in the first house is self-love.
So
Nailed that.
escape with a partner, but it also is like escape bringing pleasure is a great escape.
And
I
that's what
agree,
Venus
yes,
is all about.
getting out in nature, but I love TV. I love TV. That's
It's
my
how
thing.
we grew
And
up. We're
food.
in Louisville, Kentucky, and like just watching TV and like getting some burgers or some White Castles and going and watching TV and eating like Little Debbie's, just being an 80s, 90s kid of Louisville, Kentucky.
And also knowing that it's okay for some escapisms if they
Oh
are
God,
ones
it's
that
so okay because if you don't give
so good.
yourself that, then you start to resent the process. You have to know when you need it and you have to forget. That's the great thing. And I have started to learn that. It has not been that long that I've been doing it, but messing up,
Exactly.
reframing
Say
it,
that.
but doing things that are not part of the plan, you can call it that. And then just telling myself, we'll get right back to it. This might, and
Yes.
instead of looking at it as something that I need to worry about and I don't trust myself, I start telling myself, no, you're doing this because maybe, why don't you just tell yourself a new story? Maybe you're enacting this habit out because that's an ascension symptom right now that I've been experiencing and I have been getting, that it's an experience a lot of people are having, is certain habits are coming back to the surface because there's been a lot of purging going on. There's been a lot of physical purging. That's why all the it felt like
I went
someone
through a
wanted to
lot of
just
that.
speak through me right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There is a lot of purging going on. So a lot of digestive issues in the past 3 to 4 weeks, especially the last 2 weeks, where we've had a lot of people getting stomach bugs, a lot of like diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, weird stomach pains and things like that. And where the body's getting rid of something, there's a lot of skin rashes. There's a lot of things coming in, a lot of head pressure where things are trying to leave. And a part of this, it's going to definitely contribute to a lot of the tiredness we've been feeling, but that also comes from the Pisces energy we were sitting in. But even now that we are being slammed back down into our bodies with the sun and Venus both being in Aries, we're definitely eliminating at this time. So there's so much of that going on, and it's hard to navigate.
Well, and on that note, so many things coming up to heal and coming up and bringing awareness. That's part of the integration too. And also, I was going to say the same thing, that over the past month or two, I have had to learn that escaping is okay, that I can close things, like I can turn off. I don't have to be working all the time.
Yes, and to also, now the goal would be to have a life that you didn't want to escape from, but that's what we're all trying to do. And also, escapism, even in astrology, that's
Yeah.
actually part of the wheel. You have to have that Pisces energy, which is getting out of the body, which is escaping something, which is transcending and moving to another state, so it's not bound by some type of limitation in some way. That exists, and so you and I hold that in our personality already.
And we might even try to think of words of like, this is my escape, might be actually a relaxation.
Yeah. Yes. So it's not a bad
Relaxing,
thing.
it's numbing me out so I don't have to do anything else.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's okay. And it's also okay to take time off. It's also totally okay to not say your affirmations every day, or if you miss tapping, it becomes like workout and exercise when your healing process, and it will feel like that definitely this year because of Saturn's sextile, but it's also a reward. He rewards you for that. So sometimes you have to take time off of healing so that you can feel a little leveled up for a little while, because
And,
you have leveled up and now you won't stop healing. So all the time is a dramatic hard time.
and
When
what I
some
will say too, Chris, is what, on that note, because I agree with you, is I have this notebook that I keep track of myself in, and I have the things that I want to do in there, but it's not necessarily every day.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, I didn't do that part today. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, or maybe I'll wait a couple days. So we're not telling you not to do it. We're just saying it may look different every day, where today you're like, I want to walk. Today I want meditation. Maybe the
Right.
next day I want yoga, instead of it being, I need this and this and this and this and this every day.
Excuse me.
So
Yes,
I agree with you.
it will definitely overwhelms. I mean, for a lot of us, we like to escape. So don't create your healing journey that way. Sometimes it will be work, and it's supposed to be work, but it doesn't have to be miserable. But there are times where it will be, because you've got misery coming to the surface. And that's what I was getting to earlier, is reframing that and just saying, oh, this habit that is coming back to the surface is actually more chemicals of this addiction from when I've done it before, still lying dormant within the system somewhere. So as it's trying to purge this sugar, this nicotine, whatever this toxin or whatever this substance or chemical is, it's making its way out. The body's flushing. So of course, as it's coming up, just like an emotion, you're going to want it because it's more active in the system again. I haven't had that in a year. Well, now you're purging something, so you want it even more right now because it's coming to the surface, even frequency wise, not even chemical wise, just frequency, just like an emotion that you didn't feel when you were 11. And now it's coming back up again. You have to feel that to heal it. We all keep saying that, but when you're actually in that moment and you go, I am in such misery right now, but you just deep down know that something's leaving, so you have peace with it. When you don't have peace with it and you just think that you're miserable and that this is never going to end, oof,
And we've been
gosh,
through that. We've
that is
done that.
not what healing is about.
Yeah.
So,
I'm so glad we talked about this tonight. What a great topic.
yes, me too.
I'm just going to tell you that your grandfather is very insistent on me telling you that he is here. Okay.
Okay.
I'm over here going, looking at him. He's made himself very present. And just an FYI, he is concerned about you.
Okay.
Where, like, almost like you need a break, or like wanting to like soothe you.
Of course, yes.
Okay. But he's making me feel like
Thank
you've
you.
been going through some emotional processes the past couple weeks, and
Mhm.
that he's wanting to soothe you and pay attention to that. So I hope
Yes,
it was
I
okay to bring
appreciate
that in.
I appreciate that. I
Yes.
need that. And I know that they're there and I have felt things. I've been being touched and stuff. I
Oh,
still know that they're around, but that feels really good. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And it just, I know too, I hear him whistle, which is a reminder of my grandfather, and
He
he feels
whistled.
real,
Yeah.
oh, I love it. He's whistling. So, and
Yes.
real patient,
He
just
is
waiting
very,
his turn. So,
yes, he is.
thank you.
He is Pisces sun as
And
well.
I'm Pisces moon. He and I just balance, right?
Yeah. So my mom's dad was Pisces. My dad is Pisces
Oh,
sun. They're both Pisces sun. My mom is Pisces moon. So I come from, and all of my best friends, all of them have been sun, moon, or rising, or a combination of them
oh my God.
in Pisces. So
That's why we're together here. That's why we do this.
good.
So tell me what you got going on. Actually, first, I want to tell everybody what we got going on.
Yeah, go
April
for it.
2nd, we're doing an evening with spirit. You get two of us, two wild ass mediums connecting to your loved ones and bringing through messages in a gallery through Zoom. So you can find that on my website. We will have an event posted on our pages here shortly. But you can find that on my website, thejessicatanselle.com, and you can book there. We're excited about that. Are you excited?
I
I'm
am
excited
very
to work
excited
together with
about
you
that. I
guys.
have done live gallery or platform mediumship over Zoom before, and it worked amazingly well. Like, I mean, it was a really good event. I felt so good about it. I felt like Spirit did a great job. I felt like they were all receptive. The messages were so clear and so specific. And I was worried about that because I was like, this many people over Zoom, and it was awesome. So
It's
I
powerful.
know it's all quantum information, and that's where I'm pulling it from. But I to actually just have that happen, it was just confirmation for me that these people do not need to be in person. There's more information I get from them in person, but that is not necessary. So if you
Really?
are not
See, I
all
don't feel like I get more in person. I feel like all of my Zoom, Facebook,
the same,
phone,
I
I
feel the
get
same.
plenty.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
Just as much. So
Yeah.
you can
Cool.
follow me on Instagram at the.astromedium, also TikTok as well. And you can subscribe to me on YouTube because that's where you'll find a lot of these videos is on our YouTube as well. So that's the Astro Medium. I'm also the in-house intuitive astrologer for Eclipse over Roswell here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we do weekly astrology classes every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is open to the public. All levels are welcome. It's $10. And if you want to pre-register for that class, because sometimes it does get full and we do take people over Zoom and in person, that is visiteclipse.as.me/astro to pre-register for that. And if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can go to my website at Chrystopher, Chrystopher, medium.com. All right.
Awesome. You all can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the Jessica Tanselle. I have a mediumship for the intuitive course coming up in May. It will be 4 weeks in May. I'm super excited about it. So if you are wanting to work on your mediumship to learn how to open that, please go to my website, thejessicatanselle.com. Under events, you will find the course, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you have about that. I will be doing a fundraiser on April 10th for Pandora
Very good.
Productions. It's
Very
called
good.
Singing for the Roses. So I hope that you
Oh,
all will look for that. It will be a singing competition, and it is you vote with money. And
oh,
so it is a
very
competition.
derpy.
I've done it the past couple of years, and it's gone very well. And I'm super excited to raise money for this local charity. It is a Zoom event, which is why I'm
Oh,
sharing it. So it will
cool.
be a
Very
virtual
cool.
event. You'll be able to vote, and I will be singing live for that competition to raise money for our LGBTQ theater company
Wow, very
productions.
cool. Very
Um, what else? Okay, I think
yeah,
that's
my
it, you guys.
goodness.
If you want to book with me, go to thejessicatanselle.com.
Period. All right,
Period.
everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Chronicles of Chiron, the Lion, the Witch, and the Healer. We will see you all next week here on Soulfire at Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you all.
See you guys later.